Hey Run Junkies, the running boom spawned hundreds of new races with a variety of goals and themes and swag to get us to that registration page. Along with that boom came the birth of kids races, family fun runs, and running clubs that are designed to get even the smallest rugrats involved in racing. But we've all heard how important it is for us to take care of ourselves as runners, so how can we be sure if running is good for our kids? Now, my 9-year-old has been running since kindergarten. He has completed kids triathlons, 5Ks, and even participated in a running club at school. Now, I put running in air quotes because he sprints until he's exhausted, then he moseys until he catches his breath, and then he sprints until he's exhausted again. That's just how kids run. It's what they do. That's the normal. What I'm talking about today, though, is how to determine if a running routine is good for your kids. And when I say running, I just mean purposeful forward movement, either a run or a jog or a run-walk combination, or even a brisk walk that is out there purposely to be on your feet in exercise. We all had to start somewhere, and that is especially true for our kids, and every child is different. So how do we determine whether or not running is right for our kids? Well, first, and this might be obvious, but you ask them, and you may not have to go that far. If they show an interest in your running, maybe they ask you how your run was this morning, or they ask you why you run, or maybe they bring home artwork that says, hey, my mommy runs. They might be interested in starting to do so themselves. If that's the case, then ask them if they would like to join you on a run sometime. However, have that conversation before you just go ahead and sign them up for a kids race, because if they're not into it, you can't make them love it. Then, and this is just as important as having the conversation with your child, talk to your child's pediatrician. Ask them if your child is healthy enough to run and what concerns that you might want to be on the lookout for if they do decide to start running. Kids who are competitive runners in middle and high school are prone to overuse injury just like we are, and for the developing body, that can have serious long-term consequences. So just keep an eye out for things like that and make sure that you're not overdoing it with your kids. Also, think smaller. Their legs are shorter, their bodies are smaller. They have to turn those legs over a lot faster just to keep up with you, especially if you have younger children who want to join you on a run. That easy 3 miles might feel like a hard 10 miles for them. So ease them into it. I have left a few links in the description below, including a podcast from Another Mother Runner where they talk about how to get your kids into running and what guidelines to kind of think about in terms of age and distance. That being said, though, you know your child the best, so you know what they're capable of and what they would be interested in doing. So keep that in mind as you introduce them to the sport. My son, for example, has always loved running and he's naturally good at it. But even so, his long runs rarely exceed 3 miles and he only goes out a couple of times a week at most. So when you're going out for a run with your kids, take into consideration their age, their size, their endurance levels. Maybe your 5-year-old can keep up with you for about a mile, or maybe they're ready for their first 5K. Maybe your 10-year-old needs a physical outlet to help them focus in school, and maybe a couple times around the block in the morning is good for them. Look into clubs at your school or start one of your own. I've left links to some of my favorites in the description below, including 100 Mile Club, Girls on the Run, and Run for Life. While fun runs and kids races are becoming ever popular, read the rules carefully because there are sometimes age minimums and or a requirement that the parent runs with the child. Respect those rules and gauge whether or not your child is ready. Also, just like training for a race is a good idea for grown-ups, the same can be said for your kids. So take them out a few times and just prepare them for their race. Also, don't have any expectations in those first few races. Let them come to the sport. Let them enjoy the race experience, cross the finish line, and be excited on their own. Whatever you do, remember that running can be tough. If it's tough for us, magnify that for your kids. Listen carefully to not only what they're saying, but how they're behaving. Look at their body language. Find out if they really enjoy it or if they're just kind of tolerating it. Again, let them come to the sport. Know when to push and when to back off. Remember that you are a parent first, not a coach. And if your kids do love running and want to run with you, enjoy that time. Treat it like that uninterrupted, screen-free time. My question for you today is this: if you have kids, do you run with them? Do they enjoy it? How do you manage that? Please tell me your story in the comments section down below. And as always, give me a thumbs up if you like this video and subscribe for more great stuff from Running with Grace. That's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Get out there, go find your awesome. Until next time, happy running.